We're less than 24 hours away from Marvel's last chance to have a win in 2025 at the box office, despite what every single headline was trying to convince you of back in February when Captain America Brave New World came out, and then again in May when Thunderbolts came out. Both of those movies, like we talked about here on this channel, ended up being catastrophic flops because that's what the media does. They hype all these big studios. They hype all these big movies. An opening weekend comes out, and even if it doesn't stack up to what it should have for this franchise, for these IPs, for a movie with these types of budgets, they try to pretend like everything's amazing. So here we are. They're admitting that the first two movies this year flopped. And also, of course, you look at Disney Plus, hasn't been any better. Daredevil Born Again, complete and total disappointment. Ironheart, massive disaster. I don't think Wonder Man is exactly going to move the needle. But Fantastic Four is the last chance for Marvel to salvage something at the box office. And it's obvious that they are desperate for it to do so, not just to balance their bottom line from this year, but also because this is a movie that is supposed to be setting up the big Avengers team-up movie. And let's face it, nothing that we've had so far sets this up. There's been no tease for this. There's been no setup for Avengers Doomsday because they shifted gears last second. So now it's all resting in the hands of Pedro Pascal when it comes to the MCU. And first reactions came in. I can't say I'm shocked by the first reactions. Fantastic Four first reactions praise immaculate VFX, pitch perfect script, one of the best things Marvel has ever made. And the laundry list is, oh, this is the best Marvel movie since blah. This is incredible. This is amazing. They blew me out of the water. I was so shocked and surprised and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? If I was 5 years in the past and every single Marvel movie that came out didn't have this same exact messaging attached to it from the first reactions, from the people that get the early screenings, the early invites and all that stuff, then maybe I might consider this to be, wow, holy shit, that might get me hyped. But the problem is, we saw the same thing a couple months ago for Captain America Brave New World. That movie was dog shit. We saw the same thing for Thunderbolts. And I think that Thunderbolts is a pretty mid movie in general, but certainly didn't live up to what the critics were trying to tell you with those first reactions. There's no way of the same thing happening for Fantastic Four. Ultimately, this is why people no longer trust some of the influencers or critics or whatever that are out there, because it always seems like we hear the same damn thing over and over and over again. And honestly, ultimately, it's going to be a test of the box office, just like it has been, just like it will continue to be. And right now, Fantastic Four projected to open similarly to Superman. And the reason I say that, Superman opened at $220 million globally. But if you remember the projections going into the weekend, it was set for a $200 million opening. Kind of the same threshold we have for Fantastic Four, $190 to $210 million global box office opening. I actually expect, just like I said with Superman, I thought that would be a little higher. I think their projections were on the low end. I think it will be a little higher for Fantastic Four as well. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if it opens shockingly similar to Superman in that $125 million range. Will it do better internationally? That might be a big question when it comes to the Fantastic Four. And look, I hope that despite me not thinking that Pedro Pascal should play Reed Richards, because it's tough for you to convince me that this is the smartest man in the world, quite frankly, despite me and so many people having Pedro Pascal fatigue, I would love to walk into this movie kind of set as a period thing, separate from everything. I would love to walk in this movie and be like, holy shit, for the first time in a while, I really liked something coming out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would love that. I wouldn't say I have hope for that because of how many times we've been burned just over the past few years because of what we've seen. But I would love to be surprised and go in and love this thing. One of the problems is I just cannot trust these first reactions when all of them sound exactly the fucking same, regardless of the actual quality of something that gets put out. But there is no doubt that there's a lot on the line for this. Not only their last chance for a box office success this year, but this is the lead up, this is the setup, and it's the only setup they have for a massive, huge team-up crossover movie featuring Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom. So ultimately, the opening weekend box office will tell us a lot, especially they've got Superman that they're sharing screens with. How is that going to work out? Is Superman going to fall off any from competition from Fantastic Four? Is Superman going to limit Fantastic Four's potential run? All those things are up in the air. And you have to imagine that Marvel, based on Kevin Feige's interviews, based on some of the things he said, they are desperate for a win. And they are probably puckering up a little bit because they know in their hearts, regardless of what they say publicly, this thing needs to be a massive smash hit.